And thank all of you for joining us. Our hearts are very heavy right now as we all contemplate what's happening and unfolding in Las Vegas. But this is the kickoff for the 34th annual National Night Out campaign. The Houston Police Department, Harris County Sheriff's Office, and surrounding law enforcement agencies have been sponsoring this event for 34 consecutive years. The events actually will take place tomorrow evening from 6 to 9 p.m. at locations all across the city and the county, in backyards and at schools and civic centers. So please make sure that you get with our National Night Out coordinators on very specific locations. One can only imagine that during Hurricane Harvey that neighbors got to know neighbors like never before. And they joined law enforcement to help rescue and save family members and community members. And that's the spirit of a National Night Out. It doesn't just happen in one evening, but throughout the year. And before we get into our official duties that we're supposed to do here, we want to recognize many people that have joined us in support throughout the year. And when we mention your name, if you could just kind of raise your hand if you can. I know it's a little tight in here. I think our groups are growing, or either our room is getting smaller. But nonetheless, we'd like to recognize those that have joined us. Acting U.S. Attorney Abe Martinez, Harris County District Clerk Chris Daniels, Council Member and Public Safety Chair Brenda Stardig. We also have representatives from Councilman Steve Lee's office, David Martin and Mike Knox's office, Council Member Michael Kubosh, Council Member Craig Davis. We'd also like to recognize our law enforcement officials that are here with us. Constable May Walker, Captain Goff and Lieutenant Hunter for Constable Ted Heap, Assistant Chief John E. Zitzman for Constable Mark Herman, Houston Metro Police Chief Vera Bumpers, Texas Southern University Chief of Police Mary Young. And of course, we'd like to thank all of our beautiful men and women that are our National Night Out coordinators who are in full uniform, who work throughout the year with many of our community and civic groups on bridging the gaps within our community and helping to keep Houston safe. And now, with our official capacity, it is an honor to have Mayor Pro Tem Ellen Cohen here, who will make a special proclamation to our fearless leader, Chief Art Acevedo. Would you please both come forward and follow with remarks? Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First, on behalf of the Mayor and all of City Council, I want to take a moment and acknowledge the horrific incident that occurred in Las Vegas last night. The City of Houston stands with the people of Las Vegas and sends our prayers and condolences to all those affected. I'd like to thank the law enforcement officials that have gathered here today, all of those that were mentioned, especially Houston Police Department Chief Acevedo and Harris County Sheriff's Office Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, who is going to speak a little bit later. But I have to personally acknowledge the fact that, as you can see, his star is pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and as a 47-year survivor, I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'd also like to recognize Councilmember Stardig, who has been noted here, and for her fine work as Chair of Public Safety. At this point, Chief, I would like to present you with a proclamation, which I won't read the entire part, okay? But I will read, each year National Night Out provides an opportunity for Houstonians to join forces with communities across the country in promoting safer neighborhoods and demonstrating the success of cooperative crime prevention efforts. Programs such as National Night Out enhance public awareness of crime prevention programs and emphasize the positive impact that participation in such programs can have on reducing crimes in our neighborhoods. And I might add, also bringing people together as a result of what's happened in the last month. This year will mark the 34th anniversary of Police Community Partnerships. The City of Houston urges its residents to participate in this worthwhile endeavor and extends thanks to citizens and law enforcement officials for their help in assuring a successful observance. Therefore, I, Ellen Cohn, Mayor Pro Tem, on behalf of Sylvester Turner, Mayor of the City of Houston, hereby proclaim October 3rd, 2017 as 34th Annual Houston Harris County National Night Out Day. Yay. Chief.
Oh, wait, we got to take a picture for Twitter.
Come on.
I'm a millennial, so I use social media.
I still use a typewriter.
Just don't say carbon paper, then we're really in trouble. Good morning. Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem and Madam Chair. Thank you so much for being here, and to all of our colleagues. You know that what we saw during Hurricane Harvey and what we saw last night in Las Vegas is both a man-made tragedy that shouldn't have happened, but it happened, and now our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Las Vegas. Sheriff Lombardo is a great friend and colleague, and all his men and women, all the courageous first responders and civilians that obviously their actions saved lives yesterday. And then in Hurricane Harvey, where we saw this natural disaster that we know it's not going to just happen one more time or two more times, it's going to happen again and again. And this is why National Night Out is so important. We urge everyone to come out, get to know their neighbors, turn on your lights. Let's have a welcoming environment for each other, because the first time we get to meet our neighbors shouldn't be when we have massive flooding. The first time that we meet our neighbors shouldn't be when we have a mad gunman in the neighborhood or a robbery suspect or whatever issue may happen. And so on behalf of all of us at the Houston Police Department and all of our colleagues across Harris County and our elected officials, we want to just say, come on out. Tomorrow night is our night. Tomorrow night we send a message to the criminal element that the City of Houston and the people of Harris County stand together, neighbor for neighbor, neighborhood for neighborhood, churches for churches, people for people, and as the most diverse city in the country, and despite the fact that we have so many challenges as it relates to our budget and all the other issues that we're facing, that despite that, I'm proud to say that as of today, the Houston Police Department has seen almost a 27% decrease in homicides in our city. That's over 64 to be precise, 64 fewer homicides today. And that happens for a couple of reasons. One, we have an outstanding police department that doesn't make excuses but works diligently with our community partners to keep the city safe. And two, we work tirelessly to build relationships with this diverse society where people feel welcome, thanks to the environment that Mayor Turner and his council colleagues have created in terms of making this a welcoming city, that despite all the political rhetoric across the state and the country, people know that the only ones that need to fear law enforcement are the violent criminals and those that would perpetuate any type of violence or property crime against any of our citizens. So I look forward to my first National Night Out tomorrow. I want to apologize ahead of time because I'll be running and all over the place trying to get to meet as many people as we can, and I'll be sweating. So please have water for us in case we forget to bring our own. But here's to a great National Night Out, and here's to sending a message to those that might prey on our neighbors that you cannot come to this neighborhood because this is a united neighborhood. This is a neighborhood that stands with law enforcement and all first responders, including our firefighter colleagues, to keep the community safe. So, en español bien rápido, mañana es la noche contra combatir la noche fuera en nacional en este país. Le suplicamos a la comunidad que estén con nosotros, con la policía de Houston. Estoy muy orgulloso que todos nuestros colegas aquí en esta área, en esta región, que no importa el teatro político, que el Sylvester Turner, nuestro alcalde, y sus colegas en el concilio, estamos unidos para decirle a las personas bienvenidos. Aquí estamos a sus órdenes. Acuérdese que el único que tiene que tenerle temor a la policía es el criminal. Y acuérdese que hasta el SB4 es una ley que no permite que los policías estatal, del condado y local, ningún policía puede preguntarle a una víctima, por ley, no puede preguntarle a una víctima o a un testigo de un crimen sobre su estatus inmigratorio. Así que vayan a su fiesta, conozcan a sus vecinos, porque ya sabemos lo que pasó con Harvey, que la primera vez que conocemos a nuestro vecino no debe ser cuando hay una emergencia. Así que adelante, que aquí estamos a sus órdenes y nos vemos mañana pensando a 6. What time we start tomorrow? 6 p.m. tomorrow. We'll be out and about. Thank you all. Oh, wait a minute. One last thing, everybody. Before Thank you to all our sponsors, but I really want to thank the Houston Police Officers Union. That is a union second to none. It always helps us by sponsoring National Night Out, and national security companies ADT and Ring for being our primary national sponsors this year. Thank you all for your sponsorship.
Thank you both very much. And now it is my pleasure to bring forward Doug Atkinson, thank you, criminal justice advisor, who is here on behalf of Judge Ed Emmett to make a special resolution to Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, also a very brave leader during the hurricane as well.
Thank you. Well, I've got the easy part. All I got to do is hand this off to the sheriff. But I want to remind folks that this event used to happen in August. And though it's a little warm out there tonight, it's nothing like August. So please get out there. The police officers, the sheriff's deputies, the constable deputies, they can't be everywhere at once. So they really do depend on our citizens and neighbors to pull together, to look out for each other, especially our older citizens. So without having to read all this whereas, I'm just going to go ahead and present this on behalf of Harris County Judge Ed Emmett to Sheriff Gonzalez.
We'll get a picture for Twitter also. I'm a new millennial, but I'll take a picture with that.
That's the train leaving, Sheriff.
It's that I hit a home run like at Minute Maid Park. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you, Judge. Doug, on behalf of the Harris County Sheriff's Office, we're very grateful to Harris County Judge Emmett and Commissioners Court for their strong support of law enforcement and for their support of National Night Out. Tomorrow, on Tuesday night, the Harris County Sheriff's Office deputies, constables, deputy constables, detention officers, and other staff members will fan out across our country to attend National Night Out gatherings in more than 126 neighborhoods. I want to thank our community relations team for coordinating these events under the leadership of Jackie Fortune. Sergeant, she's here, Jackie. I want to thank her and Sergeant Hall. I know Sergeant Hall's here as well. For our community, the timing of this year's National Night Out event could not be better. We saw the value of neighborhood coordination during Hurricane Harvey as communities banded together to weather the storm. We saw block captains organizing water rescue missions. We saw communities checking on sick and elderly residents to ensure that they were out of harm's way. And we saw neighbors vigilantly watching over one another's property to help maintain order. Even though a month has now passed since Harvey, we continue to see neighborhoods pulling together for what we know will be a long rebuilding process. Through all of this ordeal, I have been amazed by the strength of the bonds that hold our communities together. We did not see widespread reports of looting or post-storm violence. In fact, in many cases, crime has actually been less prevalent since Harvey. This is a testament to Harris County's character. Finally, National Night Out is a chance for the Harris County Sheriff's Office to get out and reconnect with so many of our neighbors who served side by side with us during the storm. As we performed thousands of high water rescues, we often did so with civilians right beside us, lending a hand and sometimes even pointing the way. I stopped counting the number of times that our deputies reported that they were being fed and cared for by grateful residents who wanted to show their appreciation. National Night Out is our chance to thank Harris County for standing with us. It is also our chance to build on the relationships that were spawned by Harvey so that we will be even better prepared for the next disaster. So I want to conclude by issuing a heartfelt invitation for all Harris County residents to join us on Tuesday night for a great celebration of our community. Thank you. Mañana martes va a ser el evento de National Night Out y estamos aquí. Le agradecemos al jefe de policía Horacio Acevedo y a todo su equipo que hizo un gran esfuerzo durante toda la tormenta, pero todos los días también por tenernos aquí este día. Todos los compañeros que nos acompañan de varias organizaciones, de diferentes departamentos de policía. Y queremos agradecer a la gente y invitarlos que salgan mañana a celebrar en sus comunidades. La oficina del condado de Harris, el alguacil, va a estar en más de 126 comunidades. Vimos durante la tormenta como vecinos se unieron, se protegieron uno al otro, siguen ayudándose y queremos seguir celebrando eso. Entonces mañana es un día muy especial, alrededor pues es una tradición a través de todo el país. Aquí se celebra en octubre, en otras partes en agosto. pero queremos invitar a todos que salgan a celebrar con nosotros, a apoyarnos, que nosotros los podemos apoyar también por todo lo que ha pasado en nuestra comunidad y también para recordarle que entre más nos conocemos como vecinos, como hermanos y hermanas, podemos disminuir el crimen que existe en nuestras ciudades y en nuestro condado. Muchas gracias.
All right, thank you, Sheriff. Thanks. You're a great colleague, like everyone else here, Bear and everybody else. With that, we'll open up to any questions for any of us.
Sheriff, Chief, with the tragedy of Harvey still fresh on Houstonians' minds, and now this has happened in Vegas, we have a big country music concert coming up at Toyota Center this weekend, lots of other concerts coming up. Anything you want to say as you to try and ease their minds as we continue our daily lives?
Yeah, I'll start now from the Sheriff. Well, first and foremost, you know, there is absolutely no 100% guarantee for safety. We all know that. And one of the reasons National Night Out is so important is because the greatest force multiplier that we have as a police department is, in fact, the community we serve. We all have to be vigilant. We all have to be paying attention. And many years ago, under Secretary Napolitano at DHS, DHS started the See Something, Say Something campaign. It's a very simple concept. If 300 million Americans would be cognizant of what's going on in your neighborhood, what's going on anywhere you're at, be vigilant, and most importantly, be the eyes and ears for law enforcement. That's half the battle in terms of disrupting, preventing these type of tragedies from happening. In terms of the Toyota Center or any other event that we have here in the city of Houston, I'll let the Sheriff talk about next, we always study these issues. Next, in 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be in Philadelphia, where I will more than likely see Sheriff Lombardo, and one of the things that he will do, as we will do in terms of our lessons learned from Hurricane Harvey, is we will actually talk about the lessons learned, opportunities for better response, and most importantly, what can we do to try to disrupt and prevent these type of incidents. The Toyota Center is obviously an indoor venue, which with controlled access, where we have plenty of officers on site for that concert and any other concert, and we actually screen people coming on for explosives and firearms and everything else, so it's a different environment. But again, there is no 100% guarantee, and the number one, I think, asset we have as a police department truly is our community. You've got to say something. When you know people, especially people that may be in possession of high-powered weapons, you know, people always say it's not the guns, it's the person. They're absolutely right. Guns aren't the problem. It's guns in the wrong hands. And when you know someone that is threatening violence or is having some kind of psychotic episode, it's important for the way in and let us know.
I think the chief said it well. One of the benefits that we have in this region is that we have experience with a lot of large-scale events, from the Super Bowl to the Final Four to different activities going on, and so I think that's very helpful to us. We also have great coordination amongst all public safety agencies. You're seeing a representative here today of that. And but the chief said it well. We can't safeguard every single place, be at every single event, but we ask the public to be vigilant, to work with us, to give us information. Every piece of detail may seem so small, but it could be a significant piece to something, and so we want to be mindful and be responsive of that. And just ask people to still go out and enjoy life. You know, we're seeing a new reality somewhat across the country, even the world, where no place seems safe anymore, whether it be a concert or a church or a movie theater. You know, and so it's something that we have to be realistic about. Also talk to our children so that they could better process what's going on across the TV screen and the news that's coming out from these various events, and how they can be prepared. And so I think these are new realities that we have to face. And in law enforcement, you know, we're always evolving with the times as well. And as the chief said, we learn from these incidents and see how we can be better prepared and safeguard our community as best we can.
Chief, we had spoken to your predecessor today, and what he talked about was, especially for soft target events here in the Houston area, that technology can often be a force multiplier, and he would have liked to see, for example, HPD to use drones for some monitoring, for example, for like, you know, Freedom Over Texas, other large soft target gatherings. Have you guys talked about using drones and other sort of newer technology in HPD to do some monitoring and things? Because there's only, like, you know, helicopters are a lot more expensive, And is that a reality or something you've spoken with the mayor about or even considered?
Well, I mean, drones is pretty much a pretty new evolving technology, and we know that it is something that's out there in the horizon. We actually are looking at that just as before we actually bother the mayor. I need to bring the mayor fully thought out proposals, right? You have to flesh them out, and so before we bring it to the mayor, to the council for consideration, we have to look at all the policy implications. Let's face it. When you talk about drones in this country in the hands of law enforcement, it evokes a lot of privacy issues, it evokes a lot of fear, and it evokes a lot of backlash. And so if we're going to use that technology, we have to make sure that we have a thoughtful conversation with this community, a thoughtful conversation with elected officials, and we also have to make sure that we have, in the event we do use them, because they have a lot of application, not just for Overwatch, but they also have application to process a major crash scene, where you can use a drone that comes up and actually can actually do all the measurements and probably 80% quicker than your total station surveys that we now use on the ground. So there are a lot of applications. We are looking at it, but that's not going to happen overnight. At the end of the day, we do leverage technology here. We have thousands of cameras that we have access to as a police department. We have a great intelligence center, fusion center here that's well staffed and well funded by the federal grant dollars that we have. And lastly, we have really good partnerships with our federal, state, county, and local partners, and a great partnership with the community. So we are looking at it, but at the end of the day, we already have an asset, and that's called the technology that we're using, including the data streaming, where we're actually looking, mining, where we're looking for threats on the internet, on social media. Quite frankly, with all these people that carry out these type of attacks, it's not about ideology, it's about mental health and mental health issues. And so frequently you will see people that start acting out in writing, and when you see their diatribes, they actually evolve, and you can actually see a train heading to a potential event like we saw last night. And so we also monitor that the media streams, social media, very closely.
And can you just talk a little bit about sort of the balancing between public safety, which everyone's concerned about, and the reality of living in a free society and people probably not wanting every car searched when they go park at a concert venue, or magnetometers in front of every hotel going forward, say hotels around Discovery Green, things like that. I mean, where do you draw the sort of balance?
Well, that is going to be probably going to be debated for the upcoming weeks and months. At the end of the day, you can't stop every attack. We know that the #1 threat that keeps me up, I know keeps the sheriff up, keeps all of our leadership cadre up, is that lone wolf. That lone wolf that can go from a thought to operation in a matter of hours, and very easily, especially when you look at the fact that firearms are pretty easy to access in our country, and quite frankly, mental health issues and firearms really don't mix very well. We just have to continue to do everything we can to identify threats early on, and our #1 asset in identifying threats early on truly is the community itself. So, and you got to balance it. I mean, the other thing is you have to balance your mindset, right? When you're in large crowds, you need to be looking out for signs that somebody may be not standing out. If it's a hot day out and somebody's wearing a heavy coat, that's a hint. There might be somebody wearing something. Somebody should not be bringing large packs into crowded events. I always try to tell people that if we all had the mindset to look at a large crowd situation and treat it as an airport, and what you would think is suspicious at an airport or inside a secure area, you should see as suspicious in these large crowds. Somebody puts down a bag. Think about the Boston Marathon bombing. Somebody puts down a bag without being attached to somebody should be a absolute flag that something is wrong, and you should probably tell law enforcement right away. So I think if we all learn how to look at things and treat things more like if you were at the airport, we might be able to enhance our situational awareness.
¿Podría decirlo en español lo que refería sobre el hongo, que es algo que les preocupa a ustedes?
Lo que nos, y voy a dejar que el sheriff hable en español también, o en inglés, lo que quiera. Para nosotros, las fuerzas policíacas, el lone wolf, la persona que va a actuar solo, no nos deja dormir, porque sabemos que una persona puede tener un pensamiento feo, ahora mismo en 2 a 3 horas con tantas pistolas y rifles y ametralladoras que hay aquí en este país pueden hacer esos tipos de ataques. Por eso es muy importante que la comunidad sepa que al fin del día nuestro compañero más importante es la comunidad. Ustedes son nuestros oídos, nuestros ojos, y si ven algo, saben algo que está sospechoso, una persona que está al punto de perder su mente o está amenazando, es importante que llame a la policía porque aquí estamos a servirles. Okay? All right. Anything else?
I have a question. I have a question for all three of you. First, are we...
Okay, there's like 20 people up here.
you, and you.
Okay, all 3 of you.
For, I apologize, Chief, Sheriff, and Mayor Pro Tem. Are we sending anybody to Vegas and also speak on training in response to what happened?
Look, the incident's still fresh over there. Obviously, they're still mobilizing. Typically, a situation like that, it could be handled by the local authorities, you know, again, local, state, county, federal, out in Clark County. So I'm sure that they'll reach out if something's needed in particular, but so far we don't anticipate that. Again, our thoughts and prayers are with them, not only those that were impacted or lost their lives, but are injured or impacted in some way, and the first responders as well. I understand some law enforcement may have also been injured and maybe lost their life. And so at this point, though, we're not anticipating, or we haven't received any requests of any kind. What was the other question?
Will your training change at all based on...
Yeah, as the chief said, we prepare with every new emerging issue that comes out, and so there's a number of threats out there that we always have to be prepared about. You know, active shooters and all types of different encounters that we may find, and you know, cybersecurity, cyber threats, all kinds of stuff. So training's always evolving, and we're always trying to stay up with the current trends and issues and trying to anticipate what the next ones may be before they even happen.
Yeah, let me just add one last thing, but I think it's really important. Look, we're in the state of Texas, right? We're all about guns. We're all about the Second Amendment. We're all about the right to bear arms. But what I love about Texas, I've been here by choice for a little over 10 years now, is that Texans take gun ownership very seriously. We have a CHL program, or whatever we call it now. I think they just changed the name last session, where people take, you know, they take classes, they learn about weapon retention, they get trained on when to display a firearm, when not to display a firearm. So we're very thoughtful as it relates to firearms in our state. I think that what this shows to us is that we as a nation need to do a better job of keeping firearms, especially fully automatic firearms, in the hands of law-abiding Americans of sound mind. Now, last week I tweeted about the latest legislation in the Congress. We have a public health epidemic that I tweeted about, where we have 30 to 40,000 Americans lose their lives with firearms under many different circumstances every year, which is a public health epidemic. And what is Congress's response? Well, let's have the Save Your Hearing legislation to let people have silencers. Now, I want you to change yesterday's scenario in Las Vegas, where a madman, one madman, has killed 58 of our fellow Americans. 500 individuals are injured, some from gunfire, some from the stampede that was caused by this madman. And now let's go ahead and add a silencer, make it so people can have silencers to save hearing. I want you to think about how would law enforcement have been able to quickly look to hear where that is coming from, those gunshots. So rather than to address a mental health epidemic in our country, rather than take the lead of the people of Texas that last session, 2 sessions ago, with the help of Sylvester Turner and others, we were able to get rid of and kill a constitutional carry, which is basically not about responsible gun owners. It's about people that can't get their hand license permit because they've proven themselves to be irresponsible. We are now looking again at Congress, including some of our own elected officials, at making it so people can have silencers. I was raised to believe that common sense and good judgment goes a long way in life. So I'm calling on all Americans that are responsible gun owners to weigh in. Weigh in. How do silencers help anybody other than people that want to hurt us? And so you talked about balance as it relates to privacy, as it relates to drones. we need to have some balance as it relates to gun policy in our country. I urge you all to go to the Major City Chiefs Association website and look at our gun policy recommendations. But certainly, had we had silencers and make them readily available, we are in deep trouble. And lastly, this reciprocity bill, as it relates that the Congress wants to have, that will force the state of Texas, that has been very thoughtful on its CHL and license laws, to take the permit from any estate, even if all that person has to do is send in a little check and they get their hand license without showing any type of proficiency, common sense, or good mental health. So I think that we in Texas need, as the most, I think, thoughtful state as it relates to gun policy, that we need to push back on some of the very, I think, reckless and not common sense laws that are being proposed in Congress right now. And I'm proud of the fact that my mayor, Sylvester Turner, gets it. That's one of the reasons I agreed to come here and work with him, and I'm honored to work with him because he gets it. The major city mayors against illegal guns get it, and it's time for elected officials to stop putting dollars and the gun industry ahead of Americans that are being slaughtered every day. When's enough going to be enough? And if you're a gun owner like I am and like all these cops are, you protect the Second Amendment by being pragmatic and not saying no or being an ostrich and pretending like there's not a problem in our country.
Chief, ¿por qué te preocupa tanto el uso de esos silenciadores en el caso con las armas? ¿Por qué te preocupa tanto que pueda ser autorizado?
Porque quieren ahora, el Congreso tiene un propósito para decir que los silenciosos pueden poner los armas de fuego. ¿Y qué hubiera ocurrido anoche en Las Vegas si esa persona tenía todos esos rifles automáticos y los policías no pudieran haber escuchado de a dónde están viniendo los balazos? Para mí tenemos que usar la cabeza y tenemos que decir que basta ya. Tenemos que tener policías y leyes que protegen a las personas que son responsables, que a los dueños de armas de fuego que son responsables, y no al criminal y no a la persona que tiene problemas mentales. Así que vamos a ver lo que ocurre. And I think that's all I have.
Okay, I think considering we're here to celebrate National Night Out, I want to remind everyone that tomorrow is National Night Out, and we urge everyone, please, you all, you're the ones that can get the message out, so please get it out. Urge neighbors to get out. It's really a time for people to see one another and to know that we're safe and to do everything we can. And so I thank the sheriff, I thank the chief, I thank you all for being here, and have a safe night out. Thank you.
Everybody, if you can just stand, we want to get a photo.
My schedule?
Yes, we're working on that.
Yeah, I'm going to move this chair back.
All right, we're ready.
Ready? Get a fan.
Just keep smiling. I'm going to do a countdown.
Come on, hold up.
Okay, ready? I'm going to start on this side.
Watch out, it's locked.
Y'all can scoot back on this side, please. In the front.
Ma'am, don't watch that, thank
Yeah, it's all my fault. Oh my goodness.
What was that? That did not sound good.
Okay, thank you. Right here in the middle, 1, 2, 3.
Panoramic.
One more.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. All right.
Good.
That's it.
All right.